Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGig webinar series, our endeavor to impart techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is Pentesting with BackTrack OS. Our guest speaker today is Hitesh Chaudhary, CTO and researcher at Igneous Technologies. Hitesh is a renowned security researcher, penetration tester, video book author, and programmer over the internet. He is mostly known for offering his services to police department and army intelligence for solving various typical cyber crimes. So far, he has presented many talks and workshops in various institutes and companies all over the globe. His area of interest includes web application security, open source, BackTrack operating system, wireless, and others. One of his patent work is under filing process. He has also got interviewed by more than 20 media companies and channels like TOI, DNA, Radio Mirchi, Pentest, India News, etc. So without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to Hitesh.
Okay, I hope you can hear me. I hope you can hear me and can see my screen as well.
Yes, your screen is visible, Hitesh.
Okay, so let me go into the presentation mode, and I hope it is visible. Okay, so let's start up with today's topic, which is penetration testing with the BackTrack. Now, I have been seeing on the TechGig that lots of testing and lots of such webinars are being taken by some of the fellows, and they were really quite a good one. But this domain is quite a new one for the industry as well, and some of the most institutions, organizations, and companies. Now, in this webinar, I'll be very quick. First of all, I won't take you a long webinar of around 1 hour or 1.5 hours so that you can take quite a nap into the webinar. I'll be just very quick and demonstrating each and every stuff that you will be able to grab into this webinar. Now, first of all, what is this penetration testing? Now, penetration testing is a new module that is being introduced with the security. Now, just a few days back, there was a news raised up onto the internet that the Truecaller website database has been compromised. Now, lots of database was leaked over the internet with the phone numbers, email, registered contacts, and all these things. Now, why actually this thing happened? This was just a result of a single mistake that they haven't updated their WordPress domain. And the new release was almost just 1 week back, and they were just delayed from a 1 week. Now, this 1 week delay was able to hack into their website by some mischief hackers. Entire database was compromised, and lots of stuff, and of course a defamation over the internet was being caused up. Now, all these things can be prevented if they have taken some services that was something like penetration testing. So in this webinar, we will take up all these things. Below is my email ID where you can simply contact me, drop me an email, or just say hello to me. Now, first of all, a shameless slide, or I always call it as a shameless self-publicity slide. So the person speaking in front of you is Hitesh. You can visit my website, hiteshchaudhary.com. I'm a penetration tester, author of quite a video lectures and books as well, and I love to instruct people on the programming language, penetration testing, BackTrack, wireless, and quite others. And my top interest is of programming. And also you can invite me at your campus for the training workshop and just to have a coffee with me or anything like that. So this was all about the shameless self-publicity that all the people like to make, and including me. First of all, thanks, and no need to worry about webinar is not at all ending here. I just wanted to place this thanks slide just quite back, but I really found this place to be interesting. I hosted a couple of webinars way back onto the TechGig, and I got a great response, and I hope you can go on to those webinars, as first link depicts you about the ethical hacking penetration testing giant opportunities, which got almost 10,000 views, and I'm really thankful all the people who just joined into those webinars. Also, there is a wireless breaches. So if you're interested in any of those topics, you can simply go onto these links and can enjoy that. Now let's carry on with this presentation. Now I'll be very quick in this webinar. I won't waste much of the time into the things that might go over the head. So what we are going to learn in this webinar, I have conducted this webinar in a little bit different way. What I'll going to do, I'll just put some questions and I'll try to answer each of those questions. And I think that would be much better scenario to understand all the things and in a much friendly way. So first of all, we are going to learn what is penetration testing. Now after that, we are going to learn two important questions that will be why to pen test and what to pen test. Then comes the most important part for you as well, that is the jobs in pen test and income from the pen test. As we are learning something, we should be familiar about the things like what can be the job opportunities over the internet or the Indian market or overseas market, and what could be the income of a penetration tester. Since because I'm jumping into the career which is quite new to me, I should be familiar with the income source as well, as everybody has to earn something. Now, where does actually BackTrack fits into the story about the penetration testing? How to master the BackTrack, and of course, how can I leave any of my webinar without showing you some of the live examples? So we will try to boot up the BackTrack and try to intrude into the some things, of course, with the legal perspectives. So let us first of all start what is actually penetration testing. In simple words, if I say, invite the hacker to attack into your network. Now this might sound really ridiculous, that why would anyone be inviting an hacker to attack into the system? Now this is not a new thing. You might have seen, if you are a Facebook user, you might have seen that there are lots of competition being going around, including the Facebook Hacker Cup as well. Now, what is there actually a need for the Facebook, a giant company like Facebook, to invite the hackers to attack into the Facebook? Now, this actually reduces the loophole type requests, because any person cannot actually think about all the loopholes. There need to be some person who can actually think out of the box. For that, you cannot actually rely on your own resources as well. You need some person from all over the globe so that they can use their own extraordinary mind and can attack into those loopholes which were already there in front of us, but we were actually not able to see them. So we invite attackers to tell about our loopholes. Now penetration testing is actually somewhat similar into the attacking the system, but the only things comes into the things that we just pay the hackers so that they can legally tell us about the loopholes. And it's really a different business from the over the market, because whenever some person comes us that please develop a website or develop an application for us, we just eagerly wait for the person, okay, what we can do and what you want on all these things. But in the penetration testing, things might change a little bit. We don't eagerly jump into the penetration testing. First of all, we ask the question something like, why you actually want a penetration testing? Were you compromised a way back? Or what are the security threats you are facing, or you are just taking it as a precautionary measure? So all these things should be answered before taking a penetration testing. Penetration testing can be of variety of types, like it can be network testing, how much your network is being secured. It can be wireless penetration testing, like you are using a WEP, WPA, how can your data can be sniffed and all these things. Apart from this, the major point of concern nowadays is web application security and mobile application security. Lots of Android applications are being developed without taking the concern of the security, and later on these applications got compromised, and you can see a lots of damage can be done if anyone hacks into the Android phone or iOS phone. And you can see the penetration testing with a variety of names like Pentesting, penetration testing, security audits, ethical hacking, and a various bunch of other. But the ultimate goal is actually to authorize attacks and just to pay the hackers so that they can tell us about the loopholes and all the security implements. So this is actually the penetration testing. And nowadays it's just a grooming platform that you can find over the internet. Now the second thing that comes up, why to pen test? Why does actually Facebook has its own dedicated security team, and so does the Twitter? And recently, if you're aware about the Black Hat conference just was being held just the recent time, there was a Windows update that says if you will be able to exploit the Windows 8 latest version, there was thousands and thousands of dollar prize on that. Now actually, why does Windows kept all these kinds of bounty hunts and all these things? What is actually the need? The reason behind this is to stop the piracy, because you might be aware about the things like torrents, and you can see a variety of Windows is being out there on the torrent market. Now how actually these things get up onto the torrents? Various softwares which are developed by the lots of hard works of the programmers, ultimately they got exploited and being uploaded on the torrent for free. And this can be really a painful situation for a programmer, that how actually my work got pirated. Now to stop all these things, actually the Windows releases its bounty hunt, so that cracking of those windows could be difficult, and also nobody can actually intrude into your Windows without your permission. Now exploitation is actually a technique, and there is a famous framework for it as well, that is Metasploit, which contains all the exploit sums like exploit for XPs, Windows, Linux and all these things. And if you are using an unupdated version of Windows or any other software, you can be compromised from a way beyond the situation. Like someone can compromise into a system, and you are residing in India, and he can compromise from the China or America as well. So this can be a situation like this. And the most common example, as I discussed just a few slides back, was the Truecaller database. Now this is not the only example. There are lots of other, like Windows compromised, Google, Microsoft, Apple, everybody just compromised from the times. So it is recommended that you update them. And how these updates are being launched? By getting the loophole knowledge. So once the Windows or any other software gets the knowledge about the loopholes that were existing into their product, they actually make a update into your system. And if you remember the Snowden case, Pentesting was quite at the boom of the Snowden case, as it was depicted that everybody was monitoring into the data. I don't know what are the facts behind that, and I really don't want to go deep into that situation, as I'm really, you can say, don't want to get up into the mess of Snowden. So you can see all these were actually being done with the help of hackers, attackers, or pen testers and all these things. So nowadays, security, you can say, is at the top concern for every product. Every organization that you see in the market which uses a computer, which uses the internet, and has got a small website is actually concerned about the security. Now you can imagine if a website of, you can say, examination department is being compromised, anyone can hack into those websites and can update its result. Now this can be a nightmare for a university, or you can say a school or anything like that. Now to eradicate all these scenarios, penetration testers are required. Whether you accept this fact or not, every organization in the upcoming 2 or 3 years will have its own dedicated team for the pen testers, so that they can update all these website products and all these things, and can update their programmers as well. So this was all about why to pen test. Now what to pen test? Once we are quite aware that yes, security is a part of concern and we should be developing some of the security implementation into our organization, where to start? Now there are lots of types of penetration testing that you can see. First of all, we should be aware of what are the benefits of the pen testing. And this was the discussion of just the previous slide, that what can be the benefits of this. Now we should be familiar with all these things, like what can be the benefits for a web application developer. Like if you are developing a website that contains the result and it is not at all secure, I can really say that website is actually a garbage, nothing more than that. If a product is not at all a secure product, how can you rely on all these things? And what can be the benefits for the software developer as well? Now for example, if you develop a software like, you can say asterisk software or something like that, webinar recording software, and it is being available on the torrent for free, or a cracked version is available easily, or you can get a key from the software just by opening it in a OLEDBG software. Like now how it can be good for the programmers. So there is need of a team which can make awareness into the software developers so that they can develop more securely. What about the Android developers and iOS developer? Now it's being quite a myth into the over the internet that iOS is really a secure one or Linux is a secure one. Now I do not call it as a fact. Since the users of Windows were quite a large in number, that's why only the virus and all these things are affecting more over the Windows. It's not like that a Linux machine cannot be compromised or a Mac machine cannot be compromised. Yes, these machines can also be compromised, and it happened a lots of time. Lots of time Linux servers were being hacked, shells were being uploaded, Mac were also being hacked, and iOS was also being hacked. So it's not about what can be hacked or cannot be hacked. It's all about how we can protect all these things by updating our knowledge and all these things. So everything that goes on to the internet can be compromised and needs a security perspective. Now let's talk about the most important aspect that you might be watching this webinar for. That is jobs in pen testing. Now any company, as I said before as well, that any company that uses a laptop or computer, uses the internet, and has got a small or big website needs a penetration testers like Facebook, Twitter, Google, Dropbox. One of the wireless one that I have included, Airtight Network, is really a good company if you really are interested in the wireless. Cisco, Red Hat, and all these companies are there into the market. Now let me show you on to my browser. Okay, so here is my website that you can go and can drop me an email, or you can visit the pen testing stuff here as well. Now let me go on to this TechGig news that was posted just a way back, and I was quite interested by knowing this news. It says cybersecurity to create 5 lakh jobs in India. So I consider India as a really outdated market in point of the security or cybersecurity. Still, they have created a 5 lakh jobs just a way back. So you can assume that lots of jobs will be there in the government sector, private sectors, and all these companies are about to be rise into the market. And once the job that is already on to the saturation point, going into that is, you can say, nothing more than a foolishness, you can say. You should be prepared for all these things when the jobs were out or showing to be out into the market. Also, there was a news in the TechGig panel as well that government releases national cybersecurity policy in 2013, and this is also one of the important major role that will give you some of the job opportunities into the government framework as well. So you can see quite a lots of jobs will be there out into the market of Indian as well. And of course, if you talk about the globally, the market is really booming out over the internet. Also, there is a Google vulnerability reward program. So once you are quite aware about the Google products or Facebook products or Twitter products, and you are quite aware about the security concern, you can earn a lot by just reporting all these vulnerabilities. Now I don't say whenever you are going to report there will be a money income source for you. It might happen, chances are high, very high in fact, but it is not at all a compulsion. Although definitely you are going to see yourself in the Hall of Fame of the Google, and that can be really a good resume builder for yourself. Now really these things matters a lot when you caught about the resume. Now lots of vulnerability exists like cross-site scripting, CSRF, and all these things, and if you report any of them directly, there is a bounty list like remote code execution. You can win at $20,000 if you got a vulnerability in accounts.google.com, and if you got it on the normal Google other application there, then also there is a $20,000, and you can see it's quite a good amount. If you found SQL injection, which is really a common vulnerability that you can dig out in any Google application or other application and can find it quite a lot, you can win a $10,000 just by reporting a single email. So now you can expect how rise it can be into the market or upcoming market. Also, if you remember the things like Microsoft also has released a vulnerability, 100,000 bug bounties being offered on Windows 8. So whoever who is able to exploit a Windows 8 platform or will be able to convince the Microsoft that yes, there is a loophole into the Windows 8, he can win this much of amount. So really quite a good figures are there onto the internet that can attract you. Also, there is a Google offering about $1 million bounty, $1 million bounty that will help you to grow up into a career if you are successfully able to exploit the latest release of the Chrome browser. So you can see these conferences happens a lot. Just is a need to be searched onto the internet, and you can do quite it easily if you dedicate some of the times. Also, there was a Microsoft launches about 100K for exploiting and all these things. So you can expect quite a lots of things are happening over the internet, and we are still not at all aware about this. So let's come back to our slides and presentation. And we have seen that what can be the income. Now, I don't say that whenever each time you are going to report a thing, you are going to convert into a dollar or euros or rupees as well. Now, it totally depends on how the company is interested in your vulnerability and about the security aspect. And it is not at all a compulsion. Although the security and whatever the amount you are going to earn will depend on the skills and the time you have dedicated on the security research. It's not like that you are quite aware about the SQL injection only and you can spend your rest of the life without updating yourself. Security needs updates, and you should be updated. Like you should be aware about the latest skills, Nmaps, Metasploit, the terms like Metasploit, SQL injections, cross-site scripting, and Nmap, and all these things should not be look like an alien to you. You should be familiar with all these things, and that will help you to update yourself and can grab some of the dollars from the internet. Now let's come back to the BackTrack thing. Now let us see, where does actually BackTrack fits into the story? First of all, what is actually a BackTrack? Now BackTrack is actually a dedicated operating system which is being explicitly designed for the attackers or penetration testers. All the tools that you are going to require, like Nmap or some SQL injection tools, some Cisco exploitation frameworks, Android frameworks, or rather I would say Android exploitation frameworks, wireless tools, and all these things are already pre-configured and pre-installed into the BackTrack. And it's a simple Ubuntu-based platform that you can find freely over the internet. Now next question that arises is, where to find the BackTrack? So let's solve this problem as well. And also I'll tell you some of the important things that, okay, so here is actually the link where you can find the BackTrack. It says www.backtrack-linux.org/download. You can download any version of the BackTrack, but as a beginner, I would request you to please jump into somewhere between 4R2, that is 4 revision 2, to somewhere between 5R3. So jump out in any of those versions. You can simply click on the BackTrack 5R3 if you're interested in that. I would recommend to download a Genome, and depending what is your architecture of your machine, you can download a 64 or 32-bit. You can download ISO or VMware, whichever suits you. You can directly download it. It's a pretty big file. You can say around 3100 MB. You can directly download it, or you can say you can download a torrent as well. Now the question arises, if you are quite familiar with this technology, you might be asking yourself that there is a next release of the BackTrack that says Kali Linux. Now why to not go with that, and why to go with the BackTrack? Now if you are just a beginner and want to start some things with the security perspective, I would recommend to go into the BackTrack, because there is a problem in the Kali. The first problem is actually about the Metasploit framework. The things which were set up into the BackTracks, Metasploit was totally re-engineered and was put into the BackTrack, although it is more powerful into the Kali. But really for the beginners, I would recommend not go into the Kali. First of all, try to master the things into the BackTrack, then you will find yourself more comfortable into the Kali. The second reason that I would say is about the /Pentest directory. Now in the BackTrack, in a few moments I'll tell you some of the live scenarios, and I'll try to travel into the BackTrack as well. You will notice that some things, that there was a folder in the BackTrack that says /Pentest. All the security tools, audit tools like network frameworks and maps, Metasploit, and all these things were well categorized and well arranged into the BackTrack into this /Pentest folder. This /Pentest folder is not at all available into the Kali Linux, and this might be a problem for the unexperienced user, because In that file, you can simply go into the file, can check out the source code, can edit them, can modify them, and can learn what are the tools available into this operating system. But for the Kali, this is not actually the scenario. You will be really finding some troubles. Although every tool is present in the Kali, but it is not arranged in that great manner. It is there into the bin bash folder, and it is being made into a command. So you can, although you can download this Kali as well, if you are not that much patience holder, you can simply log in into the download section, and this will say register and download, or you can simply click on the no thanks, I 0. Choose your architecture, whether 2-bit version or 64-bit version, and of course the official one will be there for the custom image. You can choose your genome or mini ISO. I would choose the ISO or VMware version, and instead I would really recommend you to use the ISO, because a VMware image can be created from the ISO, but reverse is not at all possible. And finally, of course, we have a direct and torrent link as well. So this is all about the BackTrack and all these things. So you can get it directly from the backtrack-linux.org. Let's move back into our presentation, and let's check out. I hope you are pretty much clear with that. There can be lots of modules in the penetration testing for a wired network or something web application security or a way bunch of other. Now, which module to choose? Now, many people will recommend that has got a more scope. Now, everywhere, interest in which you will have the field. The more interesting field you will have that interests you most will create a more scope. That's all the theory I have always been following up. And of course, I would recommend you to go through with the IT laws. No need to master them, but at least some familiarization with IT laws is necessary, so that you do not find yourself in some troubles and later on blaming on me that yes, that was the thing and all these things. So go through with the legal perspective first, that what is actually my range. I can move on to the things onto that. So I hope the things are pretty much clear about the BackTrack. And now let's have a look into the BackTrack with some live examples, so that you can get familiar about what is there actually in the BackTrack and all these things. So I have installed the BackTrack. Now first of all, it says once you have installed, it will ask you for the default password. First of all, you have to type startx, that is the default command to load up the graphical interface. Not like the other Linux and Windows things in front of you. You need to act 5R2 or 5R3. For the beginners, I would recommend go on to the anything and just try to spend some of. Now let me make this visible. Okay, now I'll click on this terminal sign. So that my terminal loads up. Now clear. Now the thing which I was talking about is actually cd/pentest. Now this folder is really arranged well into the back, and you can simply do a ls here, and you can find out there are lots of tools and things, scripts are available into this pentest. Now it says BackTrack, it says backdoors, it says Bluetooth, Cisco, database, enumerations, fuzzers, exploits, passwords, reverse engineering, wireless, VoIP, web, and all these others. So you can actually see the things out here, that how actually things are being kept into this, and how really it can be useful if you go on to the one of the things into that. Now, usage is also a very simple part here. Now, first of all, I would like to locate one thing. So I would like to locate one of the tool. It says the harvester. It doesn't find it.
Hitesh, I just wanted to interrupt.
Find it in the.
Hitesh, I wanted to interrupt. Your voice is breaking a lot.
In the Pentest folder, in the enumeration.
Hitesh, can you
I
hear
do
me?
ls. I can see here it is, the harvester. Now it's breaking.
Can you hear me, Hitesh?
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me? Your voice
Yes,
is
I can hear you.
breaking a lot.
Is
Can
my
you
voice
please?
breaking a lot?
Yes, can you please dial in using the
Yes, I
phone
can hear you.
instead? Please dial in using the phone.
Okay, how can I do that?
I've sent you the toll-free number already with the link. So
Hello.
you need to dial in using that. I've already sent you the toll-free number in the mail along with the link. So you need to dial in using that.
Okay, and okay, I'm dialing it. Hello. 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 Hi, are you able to hear me?
To select the option telephone from the audio tab on the control panel.
Okay, I hope it is audible now.
Not very clear. Are you using the headset or are you using the phone?
I'll be using the phone.
So you've dialed in using a landline?
It's on my mobile.
Alright. There's a bit of background noise actually.
Is it still making the problem?
Yes, I can hear background noises.
It will make some of the noises. If headphone is not there in my phone, it will capture some of the background noises.
It's good now. You can continue, I guess. I'll let you know if there's an interruption.
Okay, can I continue?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So let's continue, and I'm very sorry about the trouble that we have caused. It was just some sort of technical glitch, and I really apologize for that.
So let us move back into our BackTrack machine, and we can see that there are lots of files that we can actually see. Now, if you're a Linux user, you can simply use the vim command along followed by the dharvester.py. Now, the thing that I was talking about is actually this. Now, you can see the entire source code out here and can modify it or edit it as well. So this really makes the Pentester much more powerful so that he can edit or modify his changes. Now, the usage is also very simple. Let me go again back to the full screen mode. And you can see that you can simply run this file by using the / syntax. And since I'm not at all aware about how to use this file, you can simply see that the usage is also being depicted in front of you. Now, it's really simple to use the entire BackTrack into the similar fashion. Like I can simply run a / the harvester, and I can assign a domain. Let me give up my domain. This is my domain name. And I can give mode to use, like I'll give a limit of 100 only, then I can assign it from the Google. Now, within a minute, I'll see that it is searching onto the Google, and the lots of interesting information about this website can be dumped in front of me. Now, although it's going to take a few minutes, but you can see how easy it was there. And within a few seconds, we have, let me first press Control-C so that I cannot be in trouble by depicting much of the sensitive information over the internet. I can see the email was being depicted, the IP on which it was being hosted, this website, and all these things can be made easily available onto the internet. So this was all my motive behind conducting this webinar, so that you can actually see about the things onto the BackTrack. And I would be really happy to take your questions now. And I would be really happy to show you the first presentation so that you can contact me over the email. So file your query onto the email, or you can ask anything right now as well.
Hitesh, can you please switch back to the mic again, because I guess there was that problem was because of the software that you'd opened up. I guess the voice would be fine now.
Okay.
Can you need to select the option mic and speakers? You can disconnect the phone and select the option mic and speakers from there.
Okay, I have selected that. I hope the virtual machine have caused a little bit problem.
Yeah, I guess. Can you please close that?
Actually, that was the only way. Okay, let me close it in a moment. Okay, I have closed the software. I hope the things are pretty much okay now.
There, you can start answering the questions. I've assigned you a couple of them.
I cannot see any of the questions now.
The questions, Spain.
Okay, now there are. Yes, I can start. Okay, so I have a couple of questions. So there are first of all, there's a question from Vinod who is asking, can we download Kali OS? Yes, Kali OS is downloadable and it's absolutely free. You can download it from this link I have shown you. It is on the kali.org/downloads, and it is absolutely free. You can download it at any time. The next question is from Mr. Jatin. So if you really are interested in the IT laws, you can simply go back to this link that I have shown you. Here is the link on the TechGig and one that I have conducted a way back over the TechGig, and you can simply watch this series and can ask for the link. I have created an explicit PDF about the overview, so you can go through with this webinar and can understand about the entire things. Apart from this, the next question is, any professional course related to Pentest? There are a couple of courses dedicated on to the Pentest. The one which you can find is on, and this is really a nice course and cheap one as well. Also, there is a dedicated course hosted at the offensive security as well, a costly one. You have to spend almost, I think, $1,000 or maybe more to take that course, but that one is really cheap one. Can you share some of the information on ethical hacking, learning and resources? Now, first of all, I would really say here is, you don't need to have these all kinds of certification. Although I host a couple of certifications, but really the ultimate thing that matters is actually about the knowledge. So try to go on with some blogs, or the best thing to learn about these ethical hacking and all these resources is BackTrack itself. So just download the BackTrack, spend a couple of time with it, and try to run all these scripts onto your local environment, and that will really help you to master all these ethical hacking and all these resources. And at any time, if you find any problem running any of those scripts or finding trouble in that, you can simply drop me an email. And again, there is a question, can you download Kali? I have already answered that. Do companies has exclusive position for pen testing, or is this position clubbed with power testing or any other QA roles? No, there is an explicit role for the penetration testings. It is not being merged with the quality A roles and all these power testing. It is entirely dedicated, and it is not merged by any of the other posts. You can search out onto the Google by the pen testings, security audits, or there is a nice opportunities being nowadays open in the Google as well. In the Google Mountain View office, there is, I think, 200 positions being opened this month, so that you can apply on that as well. Also, the next question is, do we need a wireless adapter while using a BT virtual machine? This is really a nice question. So if you watch out this link that I have posted, the second link, that is a wireless basics expert speak, you will find out that yes, we need a wireless adapter for working into the virtual machine. Since virtual machine cannot access your wireless adapter that is being comes by default into your laptop, you will be needing that. And all the virtual adapters or the wireless adapters are not being supported by the BackTrack, so you need one dedicated one, which I have mentioned in that presentation. It's the alpha one. It's pretty cheap, $16. You can find it on the eBay or Amazon as well. It's really a cheap one for the $16. So you can purchase that. And yes, you will need that things. The next question is, are there any future programs to continue on the same to know how deeply about BackTrack? Yes, I would really try to be more about this BackTrack opportunities, and I would like to conduct a few more webinars on this if the software really works well, as I have found today that it really created some problems, and I really apologize for that. But really, you can drop me an email and can find all my feedbacks onto the BackTrack. But really, in future, I will some of the videos, free videos, so that you can learn BackTrack into much depth commands. Now again, the same question that I have tried to show you onto the video or this webinar, that there is no such website which can tell you all about these commands and all these, how to start the machine, how to use this tool, how to use that tool. You have to explicitly mess around onto the BackTrack. All the things, if you run the script, all the scripts in the BackTrack, it will show you some of the help options that will really help you to run all these commands and all these things. But finding all the resources at a one place that will help you into the web testings, pen testings, wireless testing, all these things is not at all possible. Can BackTrack be used for hacking Skype password? Now, yes, this is quite an interesting question. And yes, you can do it. In fact, there is no need of BackTrack for that. You can simply do it by creating a simple script in the Python language, and you can do that easily with that. And I have shown some of these examples in my upcoming book as well. Next question is, can you share some of the info on ethical hacking and learning resources? The same question that I have answered previously. There is no such typical resource that can guide you onto the everything, but still you can drop an email onto my email ID, hitesh@hiteshchaudhary.com. Can you share some of the real scenario where Metasploit can be used? Okay, Metasploit is really a powerful tool, and lots of resources and scenarios can be made. Just a couple of years back, when I invested some of the cases for the police department, I found that one of the share broker was being compromised with the help of Metasploit. Now, it is really a negative scenario that I am showing to you, but it is really somewhere the Metasploit can be used. Don't do that actually, but really I found that share broker computers were being compromised with the help of Metasploit, and around 2 crore amount, 2 crore rupees were being theft online. Data theft, it was there, and Metasploit was used there. The next question is, can we download Kali OS? Yes, you can. I have showed you a couple of times. And the next question is, does BackTrack contains exploit module for Windows 7 and Windows 8? Yes, Rajan. The BackTrack contains the exploit for Windows 7. You can find some of the hanging software exploits that can really freeze your Windows 7 for a couple of minutes. And Windows 8 are not at all available in the free version, but in the pro version of the Metasploit, the paid one, you can find dozens of Windows 8. I have quite of them. Hello sir, I am Ankit here. Just started exploring this IT security field. Can you please tell me what is the scope of a software developer in this field? Now, software developer has got a high scope in this field. Since you are already a programmer, and eventually a good programmer can only turn into a good security researcher. Although with no programming skill, you can also start with this field, but ultimately you will find yourself in such a situation where there is a need that in which you can you have to code some of the exploits and code some of the tools for yourself. So that's why you can do lots of things in this developer. So I would recommend you to try to switch on this field, and you would really do a great. Next question is from Shiva. Hey Hitesh, I have installed BackTrack 5R3 using VirtualBox. The moment I use it and shut down BT and shut down my PC, my machine gives a blue screen. Any idea? This blue screen is actually a different kind of problems, and I don't think it is a problem of virtual machine. Some of your external new devices that you have installed, like your graphic card or your hard disk, might have some bad sectors and all these things. So this is actually a different problem. The next question is from Praveen. Hi Hitesh, I am working in SOC and I plan to move in a WAP domain. I have got my CEH7 certification in place, and we work in a few pen tools as well. Could you suggest how can I move into Pentest from SOC domain? Okay, so if you are really want to move into the WAP domain, you should be familiar with all the things like how you can update yourself. The best thing that I would recommend for you, Praveen, is to actually attend some of the latest conference. Some of the conference I can tell you is one of these famous one is Black Hat and Nullcon and Club Hack for the Indians as well. That's a really nice conference, and you can find me around as well. And attend these conferences, and you will be really find yourself that how easily you can move into the WAP. Next is from Mr. Kapoor. Hi Hitesh, what to do if we have HTML website to SQL inject? I think you can elaborate your question more, but I don't understand how can an HTML website to SQL inject. Question is not very clear. Please again drop this question. The next question is, how can we do pen test for network using BackTrack? For network, there are lots of tools, like you can say Nmap is there, which can tells you by scanning into the entire network that what machines are installed, what ports are being explicitly being opened, and all these things, and what are the exploits being available. So let's say there is a XYZ machine being installed on your network, and you can easily do a pen testing by Nmap tool. That will tell you that what ports are open and what are the exploits being available. So that's a real scenario that you can perform. Next question is there any tool for application security testing in BackTrack? Yes, there are lots of application security tools in the BackTrack. And for the application, first of all, I would recommend you to go through with the GNU debugger, that is, and also some about the OLEDBG. So first of all, try to mess out with these things for the applications, and then try to jump into the security testing. Then what is the difference between the genome and KDE as a no voice? Which would you recommend? As I would recommend the genome for the no voice, but really, since you are asking this question, I would say that you are not that much involved with the Linux, and since the BackTrack requires a couple of commands and all these Linux stuff, so first of all, I would recommend you to please at least spend a couple of months with the Linux Ubuntu version, and then jump back into the genome version. Then how can we aware with the IT laws or any institute? The same questions are getting. How do you get the details of your mail using the harvester? What application is it? It is actually a simple Python-based script that searches over the Google and collects all the informations like emails and all these things. It's not only about my thing. You can run it on any website and can find about the email details and all these things. I hope I have answered your question, Pradeep, and that was really an open source Python script. Check it out. Next question is by Mr. Ahmed. How to learn Metasploit framework from the scratch? Okay, Metasploit is not really such thing that you can simply directly jump into that. You have to create some of the things and some lab setups. So for that, I would recommend you to join me over the email so that I can tell you much depth. Next is, how can we pen test WPA PSK wireless encryption? Okay, for the wireless encryption, first of all, you will need some of the tools. And if you are already a BackTrack user, I would recommend you to download the Kali Linux. There is a Farron wireless analyzer in the wireless section that is really a good one. And why I'm recommending those graphical tools is simply I don't have to actually mess around with the codes and graphical interface. You can simply download a Kali along with your alpha card. You can simply pen test into WPA PSK wireless encryption. That's really a simple tool. Next question is from Akash. I am a tester with 7+ year experience. Would it be good to move into the pen testing? Now, I would only recommend you to change your field if this field really excites you. Now, since we have to work on these things every day, if this thing excites you, that's really a chance to move on into this field. Regardless, you have 7-year experience, 10-year experience, or even more. Even a 1-year experienced person can do lots of things into this pen testing. So if this thing excites you a lot, jump into that. Don't worry about anything. I'm not so good in programming, so can I still make a good career in this? Yes, Mr. Aditya, there is lots of scope about the non-programmers into this security field. And in fact, in last couple of my workshops that I have taken in various universities, I found that most of the persons who are scared of programming jumps into the security or networking field. So I would recommend that, yes, it is a good field. You can jump into that, but you can do quite a lot in it. But yes, I would recommend, since I am a programmer, and I really always recommend everyone to program. Next question is, I have BackTrack 5R3. Is it helpful in pen testing, or I have to download another version? No, you don't have to download another version, Mr. Shah. Just carry on with that. Try to dive more into the things, and you can be very friendly with that version. No need to download another version. Next is, I have installed Kali Linux, but all tools version is old. Am I need to update all versions on daily basis? Yes, actually, update is being recommended by all the pen testers on the daily basis. But if you'll do it on the weekly basis, that would be also fine. And if you use an older version like BackTrack and everything, that would be also fine. So you can do an update on the monthly or weekly basis, but it is highly recommended to do it on the daily basis. I wanted to know if there are any institute where I can do correspondence course on information security. Lots of institutes are there all over the globe. You can find anything just by Googling out there. And I also host a couple of information security courses, so you can join that as well. And as I always say in the presentation, seamless self-publicity. Is it a mandatory for pentester to have programming background? No, it is not that much necessary. You just have to be a thinker or out-of-the-box thinker so that you can jump into this field, but programming really supports. Is there a difference between security testing and pen testing? Not that much difference is there between penetration testing and security testing. It's just a different name by which all these things are being available in the market, like security audits, penetration testing, ethical hacking, and payback. Next question is there any good class to learn security testing? Yes, there are a couple of, as the same answer would be there just from the Manmeet. Next question is the pen testing improve the performance of a website? Yes, definitely. Pen testing improves a website performance as well as can eradicate lots of spamming problems and lots of hacking attempts and all these things. And surely it improves the performance of the websites as well. Please tell me difference between Kali and BackTrack and Linux. Kali and BackTrack I have already discussed in the webinar that what are the two differences, like the re-engineering of the Metasploit, and the next was that slash pentest folder was missing in the Kali. And Linux and the BackTrack and Kali are two different things. Linux is somewhat that is most commonly available, but the BackTrack is actually, you can say, especially designed for the penetration tester. So all the tools about the security audits, you can already find that in the BackTrack pre-installed and pre-configured. Next question is how to learn Metasploit framework from the scratch. I think that's the same question. This tool is completely free, or do you want me to pay for this? Absolutely, there's nothing to pay for it. Whatever I teach on to this webinars is absolutely free. Feel free to download them. No need to pay a single money for the BackTrack or a single penny. What is the best tool to crack WPA without AirCap? Let me know if it is available in the Kali. Yes, the cracking tool is available. One of that I have told you is the Ferrin Wi-Fi cracker. The second one is most of the favorite hour is AirCrack. AirCrack-ng is the command based and Ferrin is the graphical based. It is available in the Kali. Just search it out under the wireless pen testing field. What is the job profile hierarchy in IT security industry? Now, job profile hierarchy is actually somewhat different from the other industries. First of all, as always, there is an intern. After that, you have to come upon with the security research, and then actually you have to move on with the live audits, and finally you can learn all these things and about much more hierarchy by joining all these conferences like Black Hat or Nullcon and all these things. What is the purpose of the harvester? Now, the harvester was only the tool that was quick and was easy to show you in the presentation without creating any of the problem. So I have used this tool just to show you how you can actually learn if you don't know anything about using all these tools. So by this tools, my main motto was to just show you how you can actually run the things in the BackTrack. Where do I do correspondence course in the BackTrack? From my website you can do it. And I think lots of questions are being thrown on to me. Next question I am taking from the top again. All those bug bounty programs you mentioned are from private companies. Is there any program from government agencies or sectors? I would be really truthful in this case. So far I haven't seen much of the government agencies to be so much front forward into this case, although there are lots of vulnerabilities was being reported by me and my friends as well. In fact, in the various government departments, I would really not like to name them, but really there were some vulnerabilities being reported, and so far we haven't got much of the response, good response from the governments. But in the future or upcoming future, I really appreciate that government will come forward and will look onto these things. Are there any future program to continue on the same to know deeply about the BackTrack? Yes, if actually all my programs on the pen testing actually depends on the request that I receive on my email, and I have received almost 200 emails on the BackTrack, so I have thought why not to take a session on that. And in case in the future if I receive a numerous request, I would really be happy to take one more thing on that. BackTrack is made for hacking. Is it legal to use for penetration testing of an ISP server? Yes, it is legal if you have got the legal permission to test an ISP server. Then it is completely fine if you have got the right permissions. But without those permissions, I highly doubt that it can cause a lots of problem. And let me again go back into the things. Now the next question is, which is the best tool for pen testing and how does it work, by Surbhi? I would really say there is no such best tool available for the hacking. In fact, we actually changes the scenario from, you can say, network testing to application testing to web application testing to wireless testing. So how can it be there a complete one set of tool that can do all these things? So I would recommend you to please actually choose first of all your field, and then I can tell, like, if you want to exploit something, Metasploit is really a great tool. If you really want to work onto the wireless things, Aircrack sets of tools are really the best one I have found so far. And likewise the things changes. With the all research I have carried, is there a possibility that a HTML based website can be vulnerable to SQL injection as PHP and ASP websites are vulnerable? If you are able to attach a database with any website, so you can say it is not at all a problem of HTML, PHP, ASP or anything other. It is actually a problem of the database and database related commands. So all these things like SQL injections or the Oracle database, ISQL, SQLite3, it's actually a problem depicting the user interface interacting with the database, and you have to filter that portion. So it is not at all a problem. It can be found into the HTML website. It can be found on the PHP or ASP and all websites as well. So I would recommend to apply all these filters, and I would recommend you to please watch this website that I can show you. That is owasp.org. Please go on to this link. This will help you highly onto the things like how to actually pen test, how to secure our applications, or how to know about the recent vulnerability. So I hope, Vinayak, I am able to answer your question. And I think I have answered all the questions. And one more question is there. IT laws in India, how effective they are as compared to other countries? Mr. Kapil, IT laws are very strict in India, and really they can do a lots of trouble if you are using them on the wrong perspective. So first of all, grab some knowledge about the IT laws. Like people are really kind of excited about hacking into the Facebook, Skype or Chrome and all these things. So first of all, try to find out that what can be dangerous and what are my limits to which I can extend my knowledge. So onto the hacker's perspective. So try, my recommendation would be try to everything onto your local labs. Okay, so I hope I have answered all these questions. And if there are still any left, you can simply fire your questions on my emails as well, or just fire me. We have still a couple of moments left. Okay, Mohini, so I hope I have answered all the questions. Over to you.
Well, thank you so much for answering the questions, Hitesh. I'm really thankful to you for conducting this webinar. I would also like to thank all our attendees for their support in making this webinar a success. I would request you all to send your leftover question to Hitesh on his email ID, and I'm sure he'd be glad to answer it. Thank you so much for attending. I would like you all to know that the recording of this session would be available on techgig.com by evening. Thank you all. Have a great day.